Welcome to How You Livin', a transformative podcast featuring best-selling author, inspirational speaker, and minister, Dr. Rick Rigsby. And now, Dr. Rick.
Hello, friends. Thanks so much for listening. Let's continue our discussion on leadership. Genuine leadership, not that fake variety. I'm talking about the kind of leadership that inspires. Genuine leadership in our present day has been replaced with what I call impressionistic leadership, where the leader simply and unwittingly just wants to make a nice impression. You see, in today's culture, it's all about how we present. It's about our presentation. It's about our wardrobe, our speaking ability, our ability to pontificate with an ecclesiastical excellence. In other words, friends, leaders today may look the part, but that's about it. I've often said we'd rather look good than be good. Genuine leadership challenges that notion. Genuine leadership impacts. It doesn't just make an impression. Genuine leadership impacts. I define genuine leaders as one whose behavior is influential. That's right. A genuine leader is one who displays influential behavior in a manner that motivates and inspires others to improve their lives. Now, developing influential behavior, well, that's the key. For developing influential behavior is the foundation for effective leadership. According to John Maxwell, leadership expert, he said on one occasion that leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. Friends, our ability to influence people within our sphere of periphery, that determines our impact. So I believe that influence is the trademark of leadership. Our ability to influence those who are near us, who are around us, determines our leadership impact. Here's the bottom line. If we don't have influence, we don't have impact. The most one can do without influence is impress others, not impact them. For to be an effective leader, we have to grow our influence. The operative word, grow. Great leaders grow. Listen to this quote from leadership experts Ken Blanchard and Mark Miller. The path to increased leadership effectiveness is paved with personal growth. Growth is the leader's fountain of youth. I like that. Let me say that again. Growth is the leader's fountain of youth. Our capacity to grow determines our capacity to lead. A commitment to grow every single day, therefore, is a major building block of genuine leadership, with the objective being to grow our influence. To support this, I offer two quotes. First, Charlie Munger. Charlie Munger was a former associate with Warren Buffett. They together built Berkshire Hathaway into one of the greatest holding companies in the world. Listen to what Charlie Munger said on one occasion. "Show me your incentive, and I'll show you your results." Oh boy. Show me your motivation, in other words, and I'll show you the outcome. Munger said it this way: show me your incentive, and I'll show you your results. I really, really believe that that is such a powerful quote that it requires us to just ponder for a moment. What is your motivation every day for waking up? If it's not to grow, you'll remain stagnant. Entropy will set in. What is entropy? I'm so glad you asked. Entropy is the second law of thermodynamics that suggests anything made up of a physical matter is in the process of decay and eventual chaos. Thus, if you're not growing, you're not remaining stagnant, you're going backwards. Show me why you're waking up this morning. Show me your incentive, and I'll show you your results. It was Mark Twain who said, the two most important days of your life, the day you're born and the day you discover why you were born. Here's the second quote. It's from legendary basketball coach John Wooden, who said on one occasion, "Live today as though you're going to die tomorrow. Learn today as though you'll live forever." Friends, here's the goal. You want to be an effective leader? You want to be the kind of leader that makes an impact every single day? You've got to grow. You have to commit yourself to growing. I commit myself to reading something every day. I commit myself to learning something every day. I put myself in situations purposely where I have to learn, whether through observation, through reading, whatever. I want to learn every single day. Friends, leaders are lifelong learners. Let me say that again. Readers are lifelong learners. You stop learning, you stop growing. Research reveals that many people stop growing after formal education. I find this absolutely unacceptable. Research reveals that many make a choice to stop learning once graduating from high school and graduating from college, once formal education has terminated. And the two big reasons people say they stop learning, number one, they don't have time to learn. And number two, they don't like learning. Friends, let me remind you of two axioms. First, great people do things that other people don't. Second, great leaders do things that other leaders won't. In this shallow, superficial culture of leadership, I think we need to take a page out of Grandma and Grandpa's playbook. I think we need to remind ourselves that being a genuine leader is not an easy road, but that's okay. We have to learn to do hard better, to be comfortable being uncomfortable, to disrupt our own thinking. So many times we get caught in a rut because we want different results, but we're not willing to change those old habits. So we have to really disrupt our own thinking sometimes on a daily basis. And we have to make a daily commitment to the basics. You see, I learned all this from the wisest man I ever met in my life. I'm chuckling because he was a third grade dropout, not a lot of formal education. It was my dad. Even though he lacked formal education, my father was always growing into the day he died. He traveled the world for his job. He was a simple cook for a university that prepared cadets to enter the maritime industry. The university, California Maritime Academy, in Vallejo, California. Vallejo is a suburb 20-some miles north of San Francisco. Each year, these cadets were required to go on a 3-month cruise to get them sea ready. My father was part of the commissary staff, and as a result, he sailed around the world for decades on the training ship Golden Bear. While on board, my father taught himself how to read. He taught himself how to write. He taught himself to listen and to observe. My dad was a lifelong learner. He was the epitome of Mark Twain's quote. Mark Twain said on one occasion, "I've never allowed my schooling to get in the way of my education." Even packing for an annual 3-month voyage became a master class for us kids at home. Let me explain. The ship would typically depart every year during my childhood in January and return in March. The ship left port in January, but my father began packing in December. Listen to this, y'all. The wisdom and common sense that eluded me as a child makes perfect sense today. When the next few months would take you everywhere from Hawaii to Hong Kong, from Fiji to the Philippines, you must be prepared. Now, we kids would help our dad pack. One suitcase. There weren't roller bags in the 60s and 70s. One large Samsonite suitcase. One, what we used to call a small medicine bag, the equivalent today of a carry-on. That was it. Work clothes were provided on the ship. My father had one suitcase, one medicine bag. We'd pack his clothes and always found his supplies rather curious, from shoe polish to batteries to string. We would learn later that the batteries were for his transistor radio. My father loved baseball. Any level, played anywhere. As a matter of fact, my dad and I bonded over baseball, listening to baseball on the radio. He loved baseball. So every single cruise, I remember packing his transistor radio and plenty of batteries because he could pick up international baseball games all throughout the world, or any other sporting event for that matter. The shoe polish. Why would you pack shoe polish? Well, not only to make sure that his shoes were presentable, but to shine the shoes of others on board. In my dad's words, when I would shine a pair of shoes, Ricky, I'd make 2 bits per pair. 2 bits. Old slang for a quarter, for 25 cents. We would later discover in life that all the proceeds that my father made from shining shoes, well, that funded something very special for us kids. That funded all those souvenirs that we received from places from all over the world, like conga drums from Brazil, like carved wooden boats from Panama. But why? That's the question. Dad, why would it take you a month to pack? It didn't take him a month. He intentionally used that time to purposely prepare, to order his steps. I'm talking about a PhD in leadership right now, y'all. The lesson is profoundly etched upon the placard of my heart. This is the lesson. This was the central leadership lesson that my father taught without saying very much. This was the lesson. Son, you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. If your transistor radio runs out of power between New Zealand and Australia, you're out of luck. But my father's leadership class did not include a module on luck, but preparation. Preparation, friends, I believe, is the second building block to growing effective leaders. Preparation. The first, growing every day. The second, preparation. The world was my father's classroom. His curriculum was based on common sense, rooted in wisdom, and applied every single day through his discipline, his moderation, his focus, his vision, his order, all producing growth, all establishing preparation for what was to come. My father spent my childhood and early adult years teaching me about leadership. Simply stated, he would say, son, to be effective at anything you do, including being a leader, you must first grow your influence. Grow your influence every day. You first grow your influence by making a choice to grow, and then preparing yourself for whatever may come. And then, son, you will aid yourself by exercising discipline and moderation and focus and influence your vision and establish your order, preparing yourself every single day for every single encounter. You know, I want to take one word out of that last paragraph, order. Scripture says the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord. Righteous. Righteous. What does it mean? It means living the right way. It means doing the right thing all the time. It means choosing right, even when that choice is not popular. It means thinking right, acting right, speaking right. I can hear my father saying right now with clarity, son, it's never wrong to do the right thing. You know, friends, my dad has been gone nearly 3 decades, but his leadership academy still lives in my heart this very day. In fact, I teach from that academy everywhere I go all over the world. I teach that common sense wisdom that I learned from a 3rd grade dropout. Doesn't matter what the audience is. As a matter of fact, I'm on my way to Northern California, where I'll stand in front of thousands of teenagers at a state FFA convention, a California FFA convention. The future farmers of America represent our brightest and our best. Many of them will be future leaders scattered all over the world. On this particular night coming up shortly, they will hear about the wisdom of a 3rd grade dropout, teaching his son about things like growing every single day, making sure that you prepare. Little nuggets like, son, if you don't prepare, you're literally preparing to fail. You know, I will tell those young people that great people do things that other people don't. Great leaders do things that other leaders won't, such as growing your influence every single day of your life. What are the requirements? Those young people probably will be thinking. I will remind them teachable spirit, a choice to grow, a commitment to learn about the power of preparation. You see, my dad's leadership faculty, my father's instructors, people, bosses, co-workers, friends, foes, people, places, things. Those folks, those places, those things represent my dad's instructors. Things like circumstances and situations and issues. My father learned from everything possible. Back in the 60s, we had something called the Bible of Baseball, officially known as the St. Louis Sporting News. It's out of print now, but it was the Bible of Baseball. My father read it from cover to cover. I guarantee you it enhanced his desire to learn how to read. He knew stats. I was a television sports reporter. My dad knew stats that I didn't know because he committed himself. Again, the words of humorist and writer Mark Twain. I've never allowed my schooling to get in the way of my education. My father learned from people, from places, from things. He learned by reading, by listening, by experiencing. His simple goal? Every day I'm going to grow. And as I grow, I'll grow my influence, and I'll be prepared for whatever comes. And I'll order my steps through discipline, through moderation, through focus, through vision. As a result, this is what he taught his children. How you do anything is how you do everything. It's never wrong to do the right thing. I can hear him saying right now, son, never leave a job until it's completed. If you're going to do a job, do it the right way. I can hear him saying, son, you'd rather be an hour early than a minute late. Don't judge people. Be kind to everyone. Make sure you're always serving people. That was my dad. That was his leadership academy. Very few words, heavy on action. A leadership academy with a commitment to grow, a commitment to prepare for whatever may come. Those are the basics of leadership, taught to me by a third grade dropout. So friends, stay tuned to more of these basics from a leadership academy taught by a third grade dropout, and watch your life transform from impressionistic leadership to leadership that impacts. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Until we meet again, this is Dr. Rick asking the most important question I can ask. How you living?
Are you ready to make an impact in your world right now? Do you want to stop existing and start living your best life right now? Dr. Rick wants to give you the first chapter of his best-selling book, Lessons from a Third Grade Dropout, absolutely free. Just go to www.rickrigsby.com/free gift to get the print or audiobook right now.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.